the fire. What's going on?
You know what, Ariel? I don't know. Like this weather looks kind of shaky. So, you can go out and do your thing. I am going to stay in the indoors and have me a couple of 1, 2, 3, 4, 15 cold ones. Maybe
Here's
a little
the thing:
bit.
I got invited out by a group of guys, so that means I.
Oh yeah, you got to roll. Is Kelly going?
Kelly lives in Florida.
Oh, well.
But it is one of her friends that invited me out. So
we'll get into that. We'll get into that later. I got some shit I got to get off my chest with this whole setup Ariel kind of thing. All right, Big Brother.
I love it. No, we have to talk about this because you shouldn't be setting up friends at sporting events on blind dates. But there are other things that you shouldn't be doing. Coach, the WNBA is getting really hard to defend. These players are beating up Caitlin Clark on the court. Then you're seeing, I saw this video come out of Kelsey Plum, rejecting signing autographs outside of a hotel. What is going on?
Well, they're feeling themselves a little bit. Listen, the crazy thing, I'm going to give a take that's going to be a little bit different than a lot of other people.
Okay.
All of this shit going on right now with Caitlin Clark, it's exactly what this fucking league needs. We talked about this. We're talking about this still. This game happened it's just like the Angel Reese shit last month. It's 48 hours, and it's still one of the biggest stories right now in basketball. Now, listen, at the end of the day, I think there's so much blame to go around. I think J.C. Shelton went too high. She should have got the flagrant. I know I've known Marina Mabrey pretty much her whole life, but, hey, it was a little bit extra. It was. 3, Caitlin Clark looking at J.C. Shelton early in the game and saying, I can do whatever the fuck I want. That's gangsta. That starts problems. Sophie Cunningham, get your flush and get J.C. Shelton, but not on a fast break with 48 seconds left to go. Someone's going to get seriously hurt. But my biggest problem, honestly, is Stephanie White. And here's why. I'm a coach. If you try to take out my motherfucking meal ticket and I can get away with it, I'm running Caitlin Clark on every screen under the sun, and I'm just telling I'm telling, Aaliyah Boston, or I'm telling, if you want something to do it, when she comes off of that screen, just get her with a little shoulder to the jaw. They'll stop that shit real quick. Sometimes you got to be the aggressor. So Stephanie White, she's got to take a little bit of heat too, because she's got to run a play that gets someone clipped on the screen and looks clean. I just stepped out and just hit her. And then we all move forward. But at the end of the day, it's creating so much buzz with the league. Got to remember, Ariel, this league is in year 26. They have not turned a profit yet. They're going into a TV deal in which they're going to opt out after the season. They need viewers. You saw what happened.
Is this a good look? You want to be looking bad?
It is a look. It may not be the look. I think the referee's got to clean it up, but it's getting casual people watching the WNBA now because you want to see it. And it's interesting. When she plays the Liberty, when you watch her against the Liberty didn't do any of that shit. Well, the Liberty are a winning team. They're trying to win a WNBA championship. You saw her joking around with Stewie at one point. It's the teams that suck and are jealous. Connecticut, ain't no one watching them motherfuckers. They're the worst team in the league, probably right there with Chicago. So they're not watching them. No one cares. So they want to get their 2 pounds of flesh, let them. As for Kelsey Plum, listen, girl, you nice. I know you can play. But half of these motherfuckers didn't know who you were until Caitlin Clark showed up in the league. And that's the most of those players. So, listen, sign some autographs, be cool, be nice, and let's clean the game up. Referees got to do a better job because at the end of the day, this league needs to make money.
Yeah. And I just don't I want to defend the WNBA. Sometimes it's just getting hard to defend players that are acting bigger than I feel they can. Just try to get people to like you. I just don't think it's that hard to make people off the court like you. Be nice to your fans. You need them for sure. We do have games tonight. 2 games on the slate, Coach. And, of course, you've got props for us. Sabrina Ionescu, she's going up against the Phoenix Mercury. They're heavy favorites, the Liberty, at -11.5. Why you like her over threes?
Well, listen, first things first, shout out to my girl Sabrina Nescu. I think that's a kid that I've watched, when I used to go out to Oregon and watch practice, and what a dynamic shooter. She's gone over 5 of the last 7 games. And if you kind of look at the way Phoenix is, with Alyssa Thomas and Satu Sabli, they're really good in the interior. That's why someone, I love Jonquel Jones. I'm staying away from Jonquel because they gave up, I think they're number 2 or number 3 and points in the paint line. I think Sab has been fantastic. I think going against someone like Kalia Copper that came off an off game, remember, they also played last night against Connecticut. I like Sabrina Nescu to go over 2.5 made threes tonight.
Then you like Howard on the boards as well. Why?
Well, listen, when you look at someone like Natasha Howard, seasoned pro, vet, playing obviously with the Indiana Fever, the Valkyries, Ariel, has been a really good story. If you want to talk about good stories, this is a team that had an over-under win total of 8.5 before the year. I think they're either 5-6 or 4-5. They've already moved it to 15.5 wins. Now, what's really good about this team is they're good defensively, but they're really good on the boards. They're top 5 in rebounding percentage. So when you have someone like Aaliyah Boston that's an undersized 5 that is not really athletic, then what you have to do is we call gang rebounding, which means you got to all get in the fight. Natasha Howard is part of that fight, over 5.5 rebounds tonight.
We have Walter Barker in the chat saying, Sabrina, good value, MVP deep shot. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, if you get an injury to Caitlin Clark or, Nafisa Collier, Walter, you got to figure out, like, who is that next player, right? The concern that you have with the Liberty is between Jonquel, Stewie, Sab, they all cancel each other out because they're all top 10 players. So then you start looking at other people, right? But to me, if you're looking at, and Sean just put it out, 75-1, shit, I wouldn't mind you putting a little ticket on that. I'm not saying put, the 529 beat fan for your kids. No, Ariel don't know about 529 plans, but maybe one day we'll talk about that with Kelly. But that's a story for another day or another hour. But to me, 75-1, yes. So here's how I would do it. I think at the end of the day, if Indiana is a top 3 team, I think Caitlin Clark's going to be your MVP. I really believe that. So, because I think the league needs it. So I wouldn't mind it if you put it on Caitlin and then just put a couple of bucks on a flyer like Sab, where if couple of people get hurt, then you can cash the ticket.